Hello and welcome to Gas Forward, the future of energy and wealth. I'm your host for today, and my name is Yerwang Shambo. And if you've been following the series, then you already know what we're all about, driving bold conversations that shape the future of energy across Africa and beyond. Today's conversation is not just timely, but it's essential. Can Nigeria truly become energy independent? And if yes, what role does natural gas play in unlocking the future? We are zooming in on the opportunities, the challenges, and the bold moves that need to happen if gas is going to be more than just a transition, but a tool for nation building, self sufficiency, and long term wealth creation. So, today's episode is proudly sponsored by Radiant, your trusted partner for smart and secure financial solutions. Whether you're an entrepreneur building from scratch or a professional managing multiple streams or an investor seeking smart moves, Radiant Money is committed to helping you build wealth the right way. Thank you so much, Radiant Money, for making this conversation possible. Now, to the heart of today's conversation, our guest. He's a seasoned professional in the oil and gas space with a unique mix of technical depth, commercial intelligence, and leadership excellence. He currently serves as the commercial manager at Anoh Gas Processing Company Limited and has over 2 decades of experience spanning roles in NNPC, upstream, subsea project, facility engineering, and project leadership. Please help me welcome Dr. Gbenga Ayodele Owolabi. Sir, we are honored to have you on Gas Forward. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Yerwang. Nice to be here today. And I believe that I will be able to share my experiences when it comes to gas and oil in the Nigeria and West African space. I thank you once again, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. So, before we dive into the conversation, allow me to properly introduce you to our listeners. So, Dr. Benga is a powerhouse in the energy industry. He's a chartered engineer, commercial strategist, subsea expert, and academic whose footprint has impacted both national and international energy projects. He holds a PhD in mechanical and aerospace engineering from the University of Strathclyde, UK, as well as MSc in subsea engineering from the University of Strathclyde and University of Glasgow. He also earned a BTech in physics electronics from FUTA and has completed executive courses at Harvard Business School and in petroleum economics and management. Professionally, Dr. Owolabi has worked across multiple divisions of the NNPC, including NUIMS and retail, managing over 500 retail outlets nationwide and spearheading major upstream and downstream engineering and gas infrastructure projects. He has led or contributed to landmark field development projects, including AKPO project, Bonga Southwest Apparel Development, ABO Phase 3 Development, Production Facilities PF for AGU fields, and so many more. He also contributed government strategies for cost reductions in PSCs from 2014 to 2018 and has worked closely with top tier IOCs like ExxonMobil, Shell, Total, Chevron, and Corn Oil. As a certified business analyst, project management professional, and fellow of the Institute of Marine Engineering, Science and Technology, he holds over 10 international certifications and memberships, including COREN, MEI, CEng, EURING, and more. Beyond engineering, he is a published researcher with multiple technical and conference papers in subsea systems, pipeline integrity, pigging operations, and gas hydrate studies, contributing to the academic and professional development of the oil and gas industry. What an outstanding profile, Dr. Benga. Your journey is a masterclass in excellence, leadership, and service to the industry. Once again, it's an honor to host you here today, and I know that our listeners are in for true learning experience. Thank you so much, Dr. Benga, for joining once again.
Yeah, thank you, Yewang, again. Unfortunately, when you are reciting my citation, There are some things that are strange to me the way you pronounce them. Like when you are mentioning project, you are counting the alphabet instead of calling it in full. Let me correct that so that the wrong it won't pass a kind of wrong signal over there. Like I've been on Apple project that you call AKPO. Apple project was one of my it was my first project when I joined NMPC, and we started from cutting the plate of Apple project that belongs to Total Energy, and that was carried out in both Mopo and Ulsan in South Korea as far back as 2007. Another one that you mentioned is ABO. It's not pronounced like that. It's Abo project. Abo project belongs to Ajib. I was privileged to be part of the Abo project, both phase 2 and phase 3, and that actually increased production on Abo. Another one is uh, one of the few onshore projects that I participated, which is Agu Okubome. That belongs to Sterling Global. I fully participated that as a project engineer. That was as far back as 2010, 2011, thereabout. And at the same time, moving out of the project to when you are calling my professional titles. The way you pronounce it is sounds so funny again. I'm a COREN registered, which make me a RNG. I'm a UK registered engineer. That is Chartered Engineering Council UK, which is CEng. And I'm a fellow member of Institute of Marine Engineering Science and Technology in the UK, that is MRS, and I'm equally the vice chair of MRS in Nigeria, which I was recently appointed. And for other one is being a chartered engineer in the Europe, which is Euro Ingo, that is Europea Ingo, that is an engineer, and at the same time, I'm also a member of International Association of Engineer globally. So these are just few of my professional certifications, which also I didn't mention the being an associate member of arbitration. Chartered Institute of Arbitration, both in Nigeria and in the UK, and also a member of Energy of Institute of Energy as EMI, and other association body like that, just to put it in another, which the way you call it, people out there may not really get what it means. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bengal. I truly apologize for the wrong pronunciations and for not adding certain things to your profile. I think I just used what we had, what we were sent, and it's fine. It's good to know more about you now. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Dr. Benga. All right. So once again, sir, we are excited to have you. Okay. Thank you so much for taking out
Same
your
here,
time
Yewang.
to be with us. Thank you so much, Dr. Benga. All right, sir. Now let's dive right into why we are here. So, Dr. Benga, before we dive into policy, infrastructure, and future forward thinking, let's start with the personal, because behind every transformation is a person with a story. So, how did you get into the gas industry and what kept you passionate and committed for this long?
Okay, thank you very much. Yewang. It's a long story, but I'll cut it short. This happened when I was in 300 level in the Federal University of Technology, Akure. And I woke up one day and I have this instinct in me that I'm going to work in no longer. So immediately I finished my first degree. That was in 2001. The first exam or the first aptitude test I went for was with Shell. Then we call it Shell Intensive Training Program. That is SITP in Warri. So I think we are over 30,000 that apply for that, but unfortunately, about 150 of us were taken. to carry out that training. And the training is a 1 year training whereby all the graduates will be trained and at the end of the day get employed by Shell. But during our own time, which is from January to December 2003, think maybe Shell had gotten enough from the training, and virtually about 70 or 80 or 60% of us were not opportune to join Shell after the intensive training as far back as 2003. So I think this gave me a kind of solid background when it comes to oil and gas, because we were taken through different courses in oil and gas, which really built people like us. And at the end of the training, I specialized in information technology. So from there, I think I was at home for maybe some months, and then joined Broadbank as a network administrator when nothing is coming forth. So I was in the bank spending just 6 months when I saw this advert in NNPC, went for the test, and eventually I was taken. So I was employed by NNPC as an instrument engineer, sent to Port Harcourt Refinery. That's where I started my journey. So I had this 1 year on the job training at the Port Harcourt Refinery, and then after the training, I was redeployed to then NAPIMS, that is NNPC Petroleum Investment Services and Management Services. It is now called NUIMS, that is NNPC Upstream Investment Management Services. So in NAPIMS, I spent close to 15 years as a facilities engineer, from being a facilities engineer or for being an instrument engineer to being a facilities engineer, being a deputy chief, being a chief, before I eventually left NAPIMS, which I work across virtually all the departments, because we have the production sharing. That is where I started from. Then from production sharing, I moved to NIPES. From NIPES, I moved to joint venture. From joint venture, I came back to production sharing contract department, and from there, that was 2021. Then I was redeployed again to upstream and to downstream, and that is PPMC, then where I was posted to supply and distribution department as lead vessel movement and programming. And from there too, I move around to be an acting head at supply distribution, whereby I receive all the vessels from abroad and then move it to the distribution department for distribution to all the coastal area and the inland in Nigeria. So I think I spent almost a year there when I was moved to retail, NNPC retail in Abuja, because I was told then that they needed a competent hand in their engineering and project team, and the person that could do it is maybe me or something. So I was redeployed there, and then I was the engineering manager. So as an engineering manager, I was in charge of all the projects in NNPC retail, which as at then in 2022, we had over 500 retail outlets. The engineering and the project was under me, and then I was able to commission about 2 standard stations. I was able to commission over 12 LPG stations across the country. And there are some other things that I did during the rebranding of NNPC when NNPC migrated from PIB to PIA. So we do the rebranding of all the old station, changing the logo, changing the face and whatever. So I was also in charge of that when it comes to engineering aspect of it. So after a year again, I was moved again to upstream, and that this time I was moved to NNPC Engineering and Technical Company Limited, that is NETCO, which is a service of NNPC that deals in the engineering and technical services. And that is when after leaving downstream, that is when I came back to upstream again as an upstream person, which I was the strategy and planning specialist in business, in commercial business development department. I was a year there when this opportunity also came up for the Anoh gas for the position of commercial manager, which I was also considered, and that is what I find myself in the Anoh gas as commercial manager, and it's been so fantastic. So if you look at it, you could see that my experiences, as you mentioned, actually cut across the entire value chain of the oil and gas, starting from the upstream, midstream, and downstream, because Napims then was purely upstream, where I handled virtually all the IOC, all the international companies in Nigeria for 15 years, like ExxonMobil, like Eni, that is Ajib, like Sterling Global, like Chevron, like Total. And so I have a touch of virtually all the IOC, like Shell. The last asset I worked with is Snepco, which is Shell Exploration Company Limited. So my experience in upstream has been so deep, being related with virtually all the IOCs and the local oil companies in Nigeria. Midstream is where I am now. This uh, Anoh Gas. Let me give you a brief about Anoh Gas. Anoh Gas is also owned by NNPC and Seplat, which is 50-50. That is 50-50, 50% owned by NNPC as equity owner and 50% owned by Seplat as equity owner too. So this is a pure midstream business, and that is what we speak here is gas. We have three products. We collect gas from the upstream, processing it into three broad products, which is dry gas, lean gas, which is purely methane. We have the condensate, which is purely pentane, and we also have the LPG, which is purely propane and butane. So if you do chemistry, you know the chemical structure of all these, from CH4, H2, HCs, and the rest. That is for the mainstream. And for the downstream, I have a stint of that too. That is when I told you I comment from Port Harcourt Refinery, which is purely downstream, then PPMC, which is also purely downstream. So you could see that the entire value chain was being covered by me. I'm still moving anyway, so but I don't know where next. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Benga. That is actually incredible. I mean, your journey is really, really inspiring. I love how stayed committed to impact all through the years. And I mean, your journey is a reminder that longevity in the gas space isn't luck. It's leadership, resilience, and purpose. Thank you so much, Dr. Benga, for sharing that with us. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
sir.
Yerwang.
You're welcome. So let's take it a step further and look at this idea of national progress. So, we hear like energy independence, is a term we often hear, right? And but in real practice, what does it truly involve for a country like ours? So, in your view, sir, what does energy independence really mean for a country like Nigeria?
Thank you very much, Yewang. You have said it. Independence. So literally, you know what independence means. That is, you don't depend on a third party, or you don't, as the case of Nigeria is now. We don't depend on possibly importing from other people when we have the resources in Nigeria. The resources is so massive that is enough for us. So, what energy independence means is that we utilize domestically what we produce instead of relying on importing from international community or from the regional community. So for us to be independent, or if I'm to define Nigeria, or if I'm to use Nigeria as a case study as an energy independent nation, is we process the resources, the crude we have in country, and we do less of getting crude or resources from the external. So that is what energy independency means. That is, we utilize what we produce locally. So that is just the basic definition of being an energy independent. So that is what every country is tending towards. We see how long US has been campaigning for that, to be independence energy wise, and also the European nations, most especially for those people that have the resources, like Saudi Arabia too, like Qatar. So all of them are trying to be energy independent. That is, they do less of importation and they do more of export. They do more of utilizing what they produce for the domestic uses. I don't know if that, if you get that right. So that is basically what energy independence means.
Thank you, Dr. Benga. Thank you so much. I think I mean, from what you've said, I think it's more than self sufficiency, it's more like national empowerment, and you've laid that out brilliantly. Thank you so much, sir. So, now let's dive into where gas currently stands in that bigger picture. So there's been talk about Nigeria transitioning from being an oil economy to becoming gas powered. But where exactly are we on that scale? So how significant is the role of gas in Nigeria's energy mix today, especially compared to oil or renewables?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Yerwang again. If you look at it, you mentioned it, that transitioning. So if you look at the role gas is playing in Nigeria, gas is actually a transition energy. That is transition from the fossil fuel to renewable. And what are the renewable? Like the wind, like the solar, the geothermal, etc., etc. So for us to have a kind of zero emission, what can we do in a short term? So the only source of energy to bridge or to serve as that transition is gas. And that is the role the gas is playing in Nigeria today. And thank God for the present government who plays more priority on gas usage, gas utilization. This has really given a kind of opportunities for companies to be able to develop more gas for either for domestic use or for automobile and etc etc. So gas is actually a transition energy source which is common everywhere, in the sense that look at the LPG. Virtually, at least I can tell you that about more than 50% homes or 40% homes in Nigeria are using LPG. They are using gas to cook, unlike before when you used firewood, you use charcoal, you use kerosene and the rest to cook. But now you could see that because of the transition by using gas, the effect is being felt in most of the homes. And with the present government too, by placing priority on gas, you could see how the usage of CNG by automobiles is being intensified. And even now, there are technologies whereby the conversion of even generator you have at home, the diesel generator I have at home, could be converted like the same way cars are being converted from diesel, from PMS to CNG. So they are doing the same thing for the generator now, that you can convert your generator from diesel to gas. And some are even do it in such a way that if you don't want to completely go out of using diesel, you could do a kind of 70-30%. That is, the kit could be installed whereby your generator can utilize dual both gas and fossil fuel in the ratio of 70-30. So if gas is not coming forth, you can shift to your gas, and doing that, you see that you save a lot of money you spend on a fossil fuel. So that is basically what gas position is seeing in the country today. So it's a good thing because the carbon emission is very low, and the only thing that people, or the awareness that the only thing that people have not really gotten aware of is how they could claim back the emission, the carbon emission they actually been saving. So gas is a transition fuel, and with the rate Nigeria is going today, I see a prospect, and I see a way out of reducing or contributing to the emission of the GHG, the greenhouse gas, into the ozone layer, which is already depleting at a massive rate. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Benga. That was very enlightening. Thanks for sharing that. Mr. Benga, let's zoom into some specific options within the gas space. So, between CNG, which is the natural gas, and LPG, which is liquefied petroleum gas, which one do you think holds more promise for Nigeria's future, and why?
Yeah, thank you very much, Yuan. If you look at the two, in actual sense, both the liquefied petroleum gas, which is the LPG, and the compressed natural gas, which is the CNG, have a future of, better the standard of living of Nigerians as a whole. So I cannot really tell you that LPG is better or CNG is better, but I can say categorically that the two have started changing the have started changing the life of people in Nigeria. Let me dwell more on LPG. LPG usage is far more than CNG because every home now want to use LPG because it's cheaper than our normal DPK when it comes to cooking. And when it also comes to, some even just some generator use LPG because at times I mix it, like people mix it up or people use it concurrently by saying LPG is the same thing as automobile gas. So LPG is what is common to everybody because there are some homes that they don't have cars. So if you don't have cars, you may not need the CNG, but both of them future for Nigerians because whether we like it or not, even if you don't have a car today, you will definitely get one tomorrow. And you will have course with the rate it's going now, you have course to use CNG for your cars.
Let's move into, another aspect on policies, regulations, from both governments, private as well. So we know that beyond technical issues, policy often makes or breaks progress. And for gas, honestly, it's no different in the industry. So what are the key policy or regulatory bottlenecks you think need to be addressed to unlock Nigeria's full gas?
Yeah, as I mentioned, if you know what has been on ground or what the present government has been doing, I think part of these or some of these bottlenecks had already been removed. Because if you look at bringing in anything on gas equipment, whereby the tariff has already been removed, because that seems to be one of the major bottleneck before, whereby the money you spend, what you spend in clearing those skids like LPG skids, like CNG skills and the rest. Now that government has removed those tariff that you can bring in this thing and you get a kind of exception. So this major policy put in place is really helping because you see everywhere now you see LPG skills whereby people sell to the common people. You see CNG mother stations, daughter stations everywhere. You see CNG trucks and the rest. So this policy that government has put in place and some of the gazette has really helped to remove some of these bottlenecks, and this has also enticed or bringing more investors into the country for establishing conversion stations, for establishing daughter stations for the CNG, for establishing mother stations. The government is really doing fantastically well. I wouldn't want to go in detail because there are some things that I won't be able to say here. But I can tell you that those bottlenecks that you may have identified are being taken care of by the government of the day. And it's really helping in expanding and it's really helping in bringing more investment into the oil and gas industry as a whole.
Thank you, Dr. Benga. I think still on this matter, just hearing you talk, it just reminded me of Nigerian Gas Association, NGA, and I know that you're quite familiar with the organization, right? So I just want to ask something quite personal. Do you think they are really helping in, framing the gas industry? Because I know that I'm aware of the executive board, they have their vice presidents and different positions held. You say that they are part of the people. Like, are they driving change? How effective is this gas association body when it's not the government, standing in for one policy or the other? How does NGA play a role too, as well, in framing the policies to ensure like a smooth transition in the industry?
For the NGA, Nigerian Gas Association is a non political organization that was established in 1990 or thereabout in creating awareness for the usage of gas. I think they are doing they are doing their best because at least the awareness is intensive now for people to know the importances of using gas, or the why we call gas as a transition fuel. And I want you to know, which I also mentioned in the course of this, that using gas has really contributed to the emission rate in the country, and NGA is trying its best to get to the grassroots, letting people know that gas is gas is an option. It's an option if you really want to save the environment, if you really want to save the ozone layer. So I don't think they are doing badly. The members, though I'm not a member of NGA anyway, but I think they are trying their best. We can see. How many bodies do you want me to belong? I mean, I've already belonged to many of them. So, but I'm not closing that. Maybe in the next nearest future, I may decide to also throw in my membership.
Maybe in the future you might just become the president. Who knows? Of
Who
NGA or
knows? Exactly.
exactly. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Benga.
You guys is already doing that, because I'm aware that you guys have built a lot of LPG skills, a lot of LPG stations. So what else do you want to contribute? What I would say, or what I would advise, is to expand your scope. Expand your scope in terms of go into building of CNG stations in addition to the LPG that you guys are doing. And if you're going into LPG station, looking at building a mobile refueling unit, or a mobile daughter station, a mobile casket, whereby instead of using pipeline to all the industrial areas, or instead of people traveling 200, 300 kilometers before they can regas their vehicle, you guys can have a mobile one where you can drive around at any spot. Anybody can refill his gas or his cylinder, and that is what Nigeria needs now. Because you see the daughter stations now, they are far away from each other. Yeah, coming to Lagos, you have a lot. You can count about 6 or 10. But moving out of Lagos, where do you expect to refill your gas? So you guys should look at that. Do more in CNG, play more role in CNG, and develop more in your LPG. Going into industrial scale, instead of all these 5 metric tons, 10 metric tons, 30 metric tons that you are doing. Do more in a bigger form, like 100 metric tons, 200 metric tons, that could be enough for a whole community, instead of just an area. So you guys are doing well, and I encourage you guys to also do more. And at the same time, you guys can also look at fabricating or manufacturing some of these kits in country, like fabricating the cylinders, the regulator, which is very, very common, which is not common in Nigeria. I can't really say how many companies are doing that that cylinder regulator. So if you guys can also look at that, and also look at how you can bring the campaign of how people can actually get get paid for the emission they have saved. That is in terms of carbon credit. That will really be good for Doowe gas to be in that space.
Thank
Thank you
you so
very
much,
much.
Dr. Benga. Thank you. Thank you for the comments, the positive compliments towards what we are doing. But we also see gas powered alternatives rising. So, what role do you see gas playing in reducing Nigeria's reliance on diesel and petrol generators?
I think that's what I just mentioned when I was responding to your last question on what role could Dewey gas play. It's very simple. We need to intensify the awareness. We need to provide more facilities, gas facilities. There are many states in Nigeria that they are interland. Don't look at Lagos. Don't look at Abuja. There are a lot of states that they don't have the presence of a gas pipeline. So I think the stakeholders can play more roles in providing gas pipeline into all these communities, into all these states, so that they can tap into that gas pipeline and people can establish their stations. Like the way you see petrol station everywhere, you can also see gas station everywhere, whereby you can go there and tap and buy whatever gas you need. So providing this and people are aware that gas is as available as PMS and diesel. So you have options. You have two options, or you have two options, either to go for a cheaper fuel or to go for an expensive one. And with the conversion kit now that is common everywhere, whereby your generator can be converted into gas, or you still use the dual way. So the awareness and the availability of this gas or the infrastructure for people to be able to buy this gas, though it's available, but you see some communities are struggling. If a community where you have the presence of gas stations is buying maybe at a certain amount per kg, a remote community can buy it double. If there is presence of a nearby stations, instead of traveling 100 kilometers before you can bring the gas to that region, that will definitely reduce the cost and at the same time increase the number of users of gas in our communities. So I think we need to do more in terms of campaign. We need to do more in bringing closer the gas infrastructure to remote communities for them to be able to key into gas, and not only just industry, but focus more on domestic uses of gas in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Benga. Thank you for that perspective. Thank you, sir. So now let's take a global glance, right? What can Nigeria learn from other gas-rich countries that have successfully achieved more energy independence?
Nigeria is not what Nigeria can learn. Nigeria has already learned, because I was in Cairo the other time and I see that most of their vehicle they are using CNG. I was in well again, where I see that most of their cars are using CNG. And now, if you look at it with the help of as a body, you could see that a lot of cars. I read it in the news the other time that is it on a monthly basis that we have about 100,000 cars being converted to from diesel, from PMS to gas, and that is really a welcoming development. So Nigeria is learning, or we have learned already, and we are now leveraging on that lessons we have learned or what we have seen in other countries like Egypt, like Malaysia, Singapore, US, uh, to also putting it into use in Nigeria. And I think we are moving. And don't also forget that there are a lot of foreign companies. There are a lot of, like, Indians now. There are many in Nigeria that are doing this conversion. So they are the first generation that start using CNG, and thank God that we are also learning from them again, and they are also playing vital role in providing this technical support for the country. So I think that is a welcoming thing for Nigeria. Thank you.
To close on something personal and forward looking. So, Dr.
Okay.
Benga, your journey and work in the gas sector have been nothing short of inspiring. And I know so many young professionals out there are watching, learning.
Okay, thank you, Yohan. It's very simple. You guys, as though we started from somewhere. When you started, you may not be have all this technical capability or technical know-hows, but you started, and in the process, you have learned a lot of things. You have some original equipment manufacturers. You have some technical partners that you work with. So for young lads that are trying to come into gas industry, I think what I will advise them is for them to look for a mentor. If you look for a mentor in the industry, that can quickly bring you up to that level. And if you want to choose to provide the same services that Doowe and other gas companies are providing, I think what you need is just to understudy what they are doing, possibly book a session with them and understand how they started and charter the way on how you could also progress from there. So the issue of mentorship the issue of coaching of the young ones cannot be overlooked. Uh, they have to look for a mentor in the industry. I have many already, but I'm still open anyway because I mentor young engineers in the industry, and this is something I've been doing for the past how many years now. Let me also chip in something for you. I also lecture on a freelance basis in one of the prestigious university in Nigeria, which has their center in Nigeria for the MSc and some certificate course in subsea engineering and oil and gas generally. So based on that, I think if anybody needs a mentor, I could support on that. Even if I'm not available, I have a lot of colleagues, I have a lot of people that I know that could bring them up when it comes to oil, when it comes to gas, and when it comes to energy generally. Thank you very much. Thank you, Yerwang, and the team. And I'm very, very grateful for this opportunity. And as you mentioned, I'm available for anybody that wants more when it comes to oil and gas, when it comes to subsea, when it comes to gas commercial and the rest. I will always be available. I'm competent in business process improvement, business improvement process. With specialization in assessment, monitoring, subsea engineering, pipeline project, business analysis, budget and budget performance, procurement, supply chain, and anything you could mention in oil and gas. And I'm open. If my hand is full, I could actually attach them to someone that could bring them up to the speed. So thank you very much. See you guys uh, next time.
To all our amazing listeners and viewers, thank you for tuning into Gas for the Future of Energy and Wealth, powered by Doowe Gas and sponsored by Radiant Money. If today's episode sparked something new for you, gave you clarity or stirred fresh ideas, we'd love for you to subscribe to Doowe Gas on YouTube. Follow us on social media. We are active on LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. To learn more about Doowe Gas or to partner with us, visit www.dewey.ng. Are you also interested in speaking on Gas Forward? We'd love to hear from you. Simply send us an email at doegas@gmail.com. Until next time, keep asking questions, keep learning, and keep pushing energy forward. Once again, my name is Yerwang Shambo, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.